We are back for another UFC Fight Night card from the Apex at Vegas. This is number 6, Vegas 6. So get those hashtags ready. Lewis versus Olynyk, the main event. Pretty good co-main event as well, with Weidman versus Akhmedov. So not a bad card. I think the main card is a lot better than obviously some other Vegas cards. So we'll get right into that card shortly. But anything's better than last week's card, guys. Last week's card was a mess. 8 fights only. 2 fighters fainted. Okay, Trevor Giles fainted just before the fight. He was coming out. He came out of the locker room. He fainted. We had a play on that. We had Kevin Holland. All right, if they allowed him to fight, Kevin Holland was going to smoke him. And that would be part of the reason, right? And then Calderwood fainted after the fight. So she must not have been feeling great up to that. She looked great in her interviews and her training, and that's why I was on her. Definitely the wrong side, but I don't know what happened after. She fainted after, so I don't know, did she get corona or did she have a bad weight cut? Something happened there. And those are hard to gauge, right? You're not going to know. But she definitely couldn't have been going 100% into that fight. She obviously didn't look great in there, and Maya looked strong. Now, that main event, guys, wow. I did see a path for Brunson winning. I didn't see, I obviously like Shabazian. I think he's going to be a great fighter moving forward. This is obviously just a too soon type of fight for him, right? I did mention that Brunson could win this fight, and I gave that Hooper example in the video last week. It just was a big step up for Edmund, right? Brunson very experienced, and he was able to show it in that fight. I'm happy I didn't straight bet Edmund like I know some people probably did. I did have it in a parlay. I personally backed out of that parlay. I cashed out because it was with Kevin Holland. I know some of you guys don't have that cash out option. So obviously I did deduct it off my unit total here. Let's look at the updated record, guys. Updated record. We are down 2 units last week, obviously because of the Calderwood and then that parlay that got messed up. 34 and 14 on official straight bets, so we are still above 70%, just above 70%. We're trying to stay there, but we knew the regression was going to come. I personally knew regression was going to come. Anytime I'm above 70%, you are going to get some regression. My goal obviously is always to be in the mid 60s, high 60s, and then if I'm in the 70s, I'm very happy. So we are still above 70%. We want to stay there. Let's get a winning card this week. Let's get back on track, and we are going to start here with the main event. Main event, Lewis versus Olynyk. Opened up at 225, even 250 I've seen out there. It is dropping. There is money coming on Olynyk. I understand why. You could have got Olynyk at plus 187. That's when I jumped on him just because the value, right? He could get knocked out early, but that value plus 187, I had to jump and put a little small play on it. Like I said, money is coming. I think it's around 160 now. But I'll go over the value where you can get some value here in a minute. Now, if you're on Lewis, you're going to play win by finish, right, to reduce that juice. I don't suggest obviously playing Lewis if you do like him to win this fight at minus 200, right? You're going to want to reduce the juice. You get him at KO at minus 138. I'm not laying that kind of price versus a veteran Olynyk. Olynyk has 73 fights in his pro career. And he's not going to be, he's going to be smart. He's a smart fighter. He's not going to stand and bang and trade with Lewis. He will for a portion of the fight because he does have a chin and he can stand and bang, just not for long. He'll mix it up. He'll try to wrestle. He'll grapple. He'll bring this fight to the ground if he was smart, and I know he is a smart fighter. He is on a 2-fight winning streak. He has a huge win just recently over Werdum, and that's a huge win for him in a unanimous decision, or I think it was a split decision. And he is famous for his submissions, though, guys. He has 46 submission victories in his career. 46 submissions. He's not known for knocking people out, so I don't think he's going to knock out Lewis. But I think what he does is he likes to attack very awkwardly with punches, kicks, and whatnot, and then he'll get them to the ground and submit them. That's what he does. He doesn't really wrestle you to the ground and then submit you because he's not a great wrestler. There's even if you look at the video, there's a stand-up submission. Right, he was standing up with this guy and brought him to the ground and submitted him. So I can see something like that happen. Now, Derek Lewis is obviously a lot bigger. He's strong. So that's what doesn't have me all in on Olynyk. And like I said, the last 2 wins, he's on a little bit of a roll here. He's just 2 wins versus 2 solid guys. He beat the legend, Radum, I said. And then before that, good fighter, Maurice Green, he beat as well. Now, a little about Lewis. Lewis obviously back-to-back wins as well over Ivanov and Latafi, a lot smaller guy. Both going to decision, though. So he hasn't been knocking guys out. He hasn't been looking overly well in these fights, but he has been getting it done. This is a 5-round fight, right? It's not a 3-round fight, so I don't see it going the full 5, and the odds will tell you that as well, as it is minus 700 not to go the full distance. So I'm not going to be obviously on that, but this is why I'm saying whoever you like in this fight, take them to win by KO submission, right? You're going to get the value there. So you're going to want to take them in the fight outcome play and not just straight money line. Let's look at that here. Now, like I said, if Lewis wants to win this fight, he's going to have to maybe finish it early or maybe in the 2nd, 3rd round KO, I can see. 18 of his wins are by KO. And I just don't love the price for even by KO, 138. It opened up by minus 150. So I'll be looking at Olynyk here just because of the price, and you can get him at plus 230 fight outcome to win by submission or KO. But even when I got it at plus 187, that was great value there. And yes, Olynyk could lose this fight and get knocked out in the 1st or 2nd round. I'm not saying he can't. This is just a straight up value play for me. Plus 187 I got him at when it opened. Plus 230 by submission or KO. And I'll lean the over 1.5 rounds as well. Yes, he can get yes, this fight could end in the 1st round. I understand that. It is a heavyweight fight at the end of the day. But the minus 1.5 rounds, I can see this going to the 2nd or 3rd round. Not a strong play, just a lean over 1.5 rounds. Let's get into the co-main event. Guess who is back? Weidman is back, guys, versus Akhmedov. You're going to get Weidman at minus 125, 135 now. I think it moved a bit, 135, 138, but you can shop around for a better price. Some question marks with Weidman, yes. He's obviously on that losing streak. Last time we seen him was against one of the best in Dominic Reyes. And that's been the story of Weidman's career, right? Always fighting the best guys in the division. Now, this isn't the same Weidman that, we're used to with the belt and when he was fighting top-notch competition. So he is getting a step down in competition versus Akhmedov, which may be exactly what he needs to get back on track. I'm not going to bet against Weidman here. I do see Weidman I just don't see him having any issues with Akhmedov. I think he's a better boxer all around. I think he's obviously the better wrestler. If he wants to bring this down to the ground, he can. Akhmedov is more of a grinder type fighter. He'll win, decision fights. He'll throw a lot of volume. He'll grind you. But I just don't think he'll be able to do that against Weidman. Now, like I said, Akhmedov's no slouch. He can win this fight. He hasn't lost a fight since 2016. He has wins over names like Ian Hyash, Zach Cummings. He has a draw with Marvin Vettori. We know Vettori now. He's going to be fighting top 10 guys soon, if not already. Akhmedov fights the decisions, though. His last 6 fights all went the distance. So it's hard to see either guy getting knocked out here. Maybe a submission victory. Akhmedov does have a solid chin, And he, like I said, he grinds wins to decision. So I'm going to be back on Weidman for his return. It's hard to get off him here. I am going to take him minus 125. Probably throw that in a 2-fight parlay, but I'll probably be on him straight. Value here, though, is decision plus 175. Like I said, Akhmedov doesn't get knocked out. Only thing is, yes, Weidman doesn't fight many decisions, but I'm going to take him to return. Maybe be a slight rusty, but gets the win, maybe by his takedowns. So decision plus 175 is going to be the value play here, but I'm going to be on him to win the fight. And you may want to look at as well at going to decision on that prop. Next fight here. Dariush minus 163 over Holtzman. It's moving a bit. I think it went out to 175. I personally got him at 163. I don't like that straight up. I don't like laying the minus 163, so it will be in my 2-fight parlay here. Let's go over Dariush. Dariush, who I thought would be fighting a top 15 guy. He expressed it also on several interviews. He's upset that he hasn't fought. He hasn't got that top 15 guy. He is on a 4-fight win streak. But he is fighting a dangerous guy in Scott Holtzman, who has a impressive win over Jim Miller his last fight out. This is a tough and dangerous fight, I think, for Dariush. He's a grinder type fighter, so even though if he may be losing the fight, he looks like he always turns it around and pulls something off. Holtzman, he does have some power. He'll be looking for the KO. However, Dariush, I think he's just a very smart fighter, better all-around fighter. May pull off a submission in this one. He does have a KO finish over Close. Close doesn't get knocked out. He KO'd him out in his last fight, so he showed some KO power. He did knock him out in the second round. Now, 2017, 2018 was a little tough for him, but he is bounced back with 4 straight wins. I just think he's the better fighter all around. I think Dariush does get it done versus the ex-hockey player, guys. The ex-hockey player. Dariush will want to get this to the ground, I think, personally, where he does have the advantage. I don't love the price. I'll be looking, like I said, to put in the 2-fight parlay. But take a look at the plus 125 to win by sub or KO for Dariush. That's more of a lean. I'm not going to be on that, but I am going to take Dariush to win this fight. Nasrat is back. Nasrat minus 225. Munoz. KO, I think there's some value. Plus 137, but decision plus 200 is where there is some value. Nasrat coming off that first round loss versus a tough Drew Dober. Nasrat will be moving down in competition versus Munoz. Munoz is 6-0, but isn't an active fighter. He's only fought a handful of times in the past 4 years. It's 30 years old as well. It's not like it's a prospect 6-0 coming up. He did get that decision victory in the what was it there? The Dana White Contender Series against the guy with the one arm, one hand, if you remember that. They didn't give him the contract. But they're giving him the fight here. Obviously, they need fighters. They're giving him the chance. Now, Nasrat, were people overlooking him? He was a great prospect coming into this fight against Dober. People seen him lose to Dober. People kind of maybe down on him now, but now we see Dober how good he is, right? He's moving around. He's going to fight a top 10 guy. So Nasrat, I think, gets back on track here. I think he's a much better striker in this fight. Munoz, couple interviews I watched this week, he said that he's willing to stand, which I think maybe may not be a good idea. He says he's been training with Josh Emmett, Andre Feely, well, at least at the same gym. We know Josh Emmett's been hurt, so I don't know how much he's been training with him. So I just like Nasrat all around in this fight. I'm not laying the minus 225 straight up. I will put in the 2-fight parlay. But like I said, outcome by decision plus 200. Maybe the value here. You're not getting much on the KO plus 137. So if you do like the fight outcome plays, I would maybe lean more to Nasrat finishing by KO plus 137. Not a strong play though, but I am going to take Nasrat to win this fight. All right, guys, I'll leave you guys with a prelim fight that I do like, and that's going to be Galvan Tucker. Galvan Tucker's back in the octagon. Get him around minus 130. The value though is on the outcome by decision, plus 175. So that's going to be the value bet as well. But I am going to be on Tucker here, minus 130. Tucker should be able to grind a win here. I'm looking at a decision, plus 175 as well. James stressed in a few interviews this week, he wished he had more time to prepare for a guy like Tucker. So I do play that into factor here. And I am going to be on Tucker, the Canadian. 11-1 Canadian, by the way. So, yeah, I'm going to be on Tucker there. All right, guys, like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. I will be posting, if you guys, I know most of you guys do, hopefully you guys do watch the whole video, but I will post at the end my plays, all in a detailed, so look at that at the end of the video here, just to go over everything. But we're looking to get back on track, stay above 70%, and enjoy the fights this weekend, guys. Take care.